halftime ceremonies, I suppose, emblematic of the 49ers, who are on fire in the first half and leading by a score of 28-10 as we get set for the second half of Super Bowl 29.
And the lightning bolts right now have been reduced to a football team that just simply can't afford to make a mistake in the second half. They have to play error-free football in an attempt to slowly crawl back into this football game. And again, they'd be helped immensely by a big play on special teams, an interception, any type of a defensive score. They need some lightning to strike in their favor.
A one-hopper by Brian, Andre Coleman. And he slips down at the 19-yard line, so they don't get, as the flag goes down, they don't get that big special teams play. But what would help immensely, obviously, for San Diego is a scoring drive to open the second half.
And, of course, we've talked about it so many times. They came from behind to beat Miami. They came from behind to beat Pittsburgh in the second half.
Block, number 37 on the return. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
Rodney Harrison, the numbers through the first half, 304 total yards for the 49ers.
A great game for a lot of teams, but notice the time of possession is relatively equal.
Super Bowl record, most yards gained and a half, Washington against Denver, the great Doug Williams, Sammy Smith, Ricky Sanders game. And then the 49ers here today against Miami at Stanford after the 84th season, and Oakland against Minnesota in Super Bowl 11.
And every one of those was a first half.
Yep.
Quick starts all.
From the 9-yard line, Nathan Means up to the 15. Means, who figured to be so much a part of this game if it was close. This, of course, is what happens to any team when you're behind, and Means now begins to hobble off. It takes him, in effect, out of the game.
Dion pats him on the back on his way out. Dion obviously delighted that he's leaving. And
Chargers opening like the two tight ends, so they're thinking run.
Yep. Looks like he's favoring his left leg somehow.
He comes out, Eric Bieniemy comes in. It's second down and 5, and they give it to Eric Bieniemy. He picks up 3. He gets to the 18-yard line. It'll be third and a yard or 2.
This is the type of running attack. Means grabbing his left ankle, but this is the type of punishing, heavy load type running attack between the tackles that both Means and Bieniemy are comfortable doing, and it's really what Bobby Beathard has tried to build with his Charger team, a big bruising offensive line in the C type football.
Like he built with Washington, and he took the 3 Super Bowls, and it's not nearly as punishing with number 20 on the sideline.
Exactly right.
Third down and 2 from the 18-yard line. Humphrey throws, and it is dropped, and it's killing him right now, the drop passes. Tony Martin, and that's been the story of Martin this season, either something like that or a huge play, and of course it was Martin who scored the winning touchdown against Pittsburgh.
There was also Martin who dropped the 2 long touchdown passes against the Rams. There was Martin who was plagued with the drops here in Miami for several years, and it probably ultimately led for Don Shula to make the trade to San Diego.
Ryan Wagner to punt.
That was an easy pass to catch, though.
Dexter Carter, 28-yard line. And he brings it back to the 38-yard line. A 10-yard return. And with 13:20 to go in the third, it remains an 18-point differential.
He was very upset. He said, contrasting the great offense and defense by San Francisco, that his team played that poorly. They blew assignments, they missed coverage, and he felt did not execute well. He's going to change his matchup from the defensive side to try and get better coverage of the receivers, and offensively, he's going to keep the same game plan, just better execution. Now let's go to Leslie Visser. Leslie?
Lynn, they were very professional, very demeanor. Only Ricky Jackson said, we're halfway there. George Seibert said, we've got to look for the long ball defensively and defend against it. Offensively, he said, we'll see more. Ricky Waters at receiver.
All right, Leslie, and they think it's the Waters, and it's Jerry Rice. So if it's not Waters, it's Rice, or it's Taylor, or it's Jones, or it's Floyd. And they just keep on coming at you, as they have against every team they have faced this season.
And there's a pass virtually impossible to defend, and wait till you see the footwork by Rice on the sideline.
But again with Steve Young, he got the read. He knew Rice was going to be in single coverage, and Aaron Gordon, pretty good man-for-man coverage in the coverage, but he was not going to let Rice beat him deep.
What a nice tick of the right foot by Jerry Rice, getting it in bounds.
7 catches more. Ricky Waters gets taken down by Dennis Gibson. The first to beat him after a gain of 1. It'll be second down and 9 at the 45-yard line.
And we've got an injured, that's Darian Gordon, it looks like, the cornerback to that side.
An injury timeout with 12 minutes and 38 seconds now remaining in the third quarter. The Chargers, Bobby Ross in his third year. His team down 28-10 as we step away for a moment. That shot, courtesy of the Bud 1 airship, the aerial ambassador of the King of Beers, looking down on Joe Robbie Stadium, Super Bowl 29. Thus far, a celebration of the 49ers and what they have accomplished this season as they seem to become the first team in history to win 5 Super Bowls. Chargers in a Super Bowl for the first time. They won 1 AFL championship in the old AFL in '63. Beat the Boston Patriots 51-10 in the championship game. Second down and 9. Gordon out and Van Horst in defensively. In the secondary, and Young gets sacked back at his own 46-yard line by Ray Lee Johnson, a backup defensive end.
Guy only had 1.5 sacks all year long, Ray Lee Johnson, a second-year guy out of Arkansas, and there's a way to get a little pub. Sack Steve Young in the second half of a Super Bowl.
Credit that sack, too, to find coverage downfield. For once, the San Diego Chargers locked up. They locked up on a man defense, and Steve Young had no place to put it.
And you could also credit a fine move by Ray Lee Johnson, a fake to the inside and then a swing back to the outside. Nicely done.
8-yard sack, 3rd and 17. They have to get to the 36 for a first down, and they get to the 32 as the catch is made for a first down at the 32-yard line by Jerry Rice. And the Chargers went right back into their 2-man deep zone. Jerry read it beautifully coming over the middle, and Steve Young right in sync with him and hit him right in front of the safety man.
I guess the key, Frank, on that defense is to make sure that everything happens in front of you, no matter how deep the pattern run by the opponent. Jerry Rice,
well, you have to know
all the room in the world
is going to go for the yardage for the first down, and that's where you lock up. You don't give him 10 yards beyond that. Darian Gordon back into the secondary as Young scrambles and hits Taylor. A flag is down. Another broken tackle and yet another. It may all be moved. A flag is down back at the 15-yard line. John Taylor, who made the game-winning catch the last time the Super Bowl was played in the stadium following the 1988 season, and the final game coached by Bill Walsh for the 49ers. Schieffer taking over the next season. Oh, what a tough guy he is, too, Al.
Defense, penalties decline. First down.
Dennis Gibson. John Taylor had arthroscopic surgery in the bye week in mid-season and came back and played the next game. Never missed a game, and he just referred to as the tough guy of this football team. Living in the shadow, and he'll play his career in the shadow of Jerry Rice and one of the great receivers in this game today, number 82.
And he's probably in better physical condition than he's been all season long.
First down, the 17-yard line. Ricky Waters on the ball carry, losing his helmet, but holding on to the football. It'll be 2nd and 7. Lee Gibson in on the side. 49ers, and so much was made this year about the salary cap, and the salary cap in effect figured to hurt teams like the 49ers and the Cowboys with the big payrolls, the Carmen policy, to a lot of teeth gnashing, and policy is the man on the right next to Dwight Clark in the middle.
Bill Walsh standing behind Eddie DeBartolo.
Bartolo on the left. A lot of teeth gnashing around the league. Paul Tagliabue kept saying, hey, look, he built a better mousetrap. Flag down, and Ricky Waters is shot for no gain. They were drawn off. The Chargers had encroached on the line of scrimmage.
A lot of 49er history standing up in that booth. With Clark in the middle of one of the most famous receptions.
Number 91, defense, 5-yard penalty, second down.
Leslie O'Neal.
And we haven't heard a lot of Leslie O'Neal, and we have not really heard a great deal of Junior Seau, the all-world middle linebacker. And what a block by Steve Wallace, who just pounds Junior Seau about 5 or 6 yards off the ball. What a block by Wallace. Where's that extra shell on his helmet because of earlier concussive problems? What a fine block by Wallace.
Second and 3. Back for the touchdown. Steve Young raised his arm. He made the change at the line of scrimmage, read the defense, knew what he had to go to, knew the play he wanted, made the change, touchdown 49ers. They're awesome. They are now playing against themselves in a way. They're playing against the greatest teams in San Francisco history. That's the only question right now. Boy, and you watch number 8 direct his offense, I asked him the question, I said, what winning the Super Bowl mean to you? And he said, it would be the pinnacle. I feel like I've been climbing a mountain over the last few years. I'd slide back about 10 or 15 feet, and then sometimes I felt like I was going to fall off that mountain, because if I get to the top, I will have reached the pinnacle of my career.
Well, Bart Oates at center, Derek Deese at right guard, Jesse Sapalo at left guard, Wallace at left tackle, Bart at right tackle are kicking butt right now. They've got the Chargers on the run. Junior and his guys are on their way out.
35-10. 29. Brought to you by Bud Light. Make it great taste. Make it a Bud Light. And Isuzu, makers of the new Trooper Limited.
Bobby Ross just finished delivering a pretty good tongue lashing to his defensive unit. There is an awful lot of football yet to be played here. Almost 24, there's 24 and a half minutes left to go in this football game, and defensively, the Chargers have folded up their tent, and he's trying to get them to drive a few stakes back in the ground.
Now Andre Coleman takes the kickoff. Andre almost breaks it back out to the 37-yard line, and he's taken down there by Dana Hall. Here it was. There was Ross talking to the defense.
And granted, they are playing a sensational football team, but there's a lot at stake here for the San Diego Chargers. And obviously, I'm not talking about the outcome of this ball game, but there's an embarrassment factor and a humiliation factor that none of these guys want to be exposed to. And how they play from here on out is going to have a lot to do with how they're judged.
First and 10 from the 36-yard line as Natron Means back in the game. Takes it out to the 40-yard line. He is stopped there by Ken Norton, who's attempting to become the first man ever to play on 3 consecutive Super Bowl winning teams, twice a Cowboy, and now a 49er.
One of the interesting things that happened last year to the 49ers when they lost the NFC Championship game, it meant that George Seifert was coach of the Pro Bowl team, and he went to Hawaii, and he had a long talk with Ken Norton Jr., and he talked with Ricky Jackson, he talked to Richard Dent, and all of a sudden, they became 49ers. He got to know them, and saw how they could fit into the 49ers scheme of things.
Second down and 6, and the catch is made by Alfred Papuno. A great catch, skirting the sideline, out of bounds at the 36-yard line.
Norton was the hero of the Pittsburgh Steelers game with his 43-yard touchdown reception. They like to hide him and then kind of leak him out.
You know what's kind of been lost in this game is how well I think Stan Humphries is throwing the football.
That has been thrown better.
No, that's just perfect. And he has thrown the ball well. He's put the ball in the hands of a lot of receivers, and the balls have been dropped.
A couple of critical drops. Yeah. He's going to put it back in the game. Natron Means picks up 3 to the 33-yard line. He's tackled there by Norton.
I don't mean to demean anyone, but Sean Jefferson and Mark Say and Dwayne Young are not John Taylor, Jerry Rice, and Brent Jones. And this man has got a tremendous arm. He's got a great heart. Bobby Beathard's draft picks for the Washington Redskins got him, I think, in the 4th round or 3rd round several years ago, and traded for him in '92. And he will be a good quarterback for the Chargers for a long time to come.
A couple old Saints locked up here, Stan Brock and Ricky Jackson.
Second and 7, Humphries jumps one, and that's incomplete at the 25-yard line, a little bit behind Mark Say. You know, you were talking about the receivers not being comparable to the 49ers, Frank. That was one of the questions about the Chargers coming into the year as well. Anthony Miller was their leading receiver last year and a good one. He opted to go to Denver. They lost their leading receiver and their leading rusher, Marion Butts. Both left, and this team winds up going to the Super Bowl.
Mark Say had not caught an NFL pass. The wide receiver for the San Diego Chargers. And this year he caught 58.
Third down at 7. Good protection. He guns it to the 27, and it's incomplete. And again, a drop ball. Sean Jefferson hit as the ball gets there, and it's fourth down.
Now we talked about a 4-down series when you're 35-10, even in the halfway through the third quarter. And even though you need 6 yards, you're going to go for it. 7 yards, whatever it is, you're going to go. And good hit by another Pro Bowl bound 49er, Tim McDonald.
Fourth and 7, down by 25. They go forward, and Humphries takes a deep drop, and then throws incomplete, but a flag comes down. 2 receivers and 2 defenders in the area.
Martin is saying it's Eric Davis pushing off him. Well, Eric Davis is the guy that nearly intercepted the ball.
49ers are saying will decline his offense.
Number 82, offense. Penalties decline. First down.
That's Mark Say, and the Charger wide receivers are taking turns being involved in plays that are not helping their ball club. How's that for being diplomatic?
That's not the best I've heard in a long time. You're going back to your head. 7:25 left in the third. 35-10, 49ers.
Here is the fourth down play. Mark Say is number 82. Watch his left hand here and how he gets it on the face mask. You see it on the face mask there of Tyrone Drakeford, and that's what really draws the attention of the officials. Granted, Drakeford has his arms wrapped around him as well, but it was, I think, the fact that Say led with his arms first and then got the left hand up on the face mask that brought that flag.
And William Floyd is the recipient of this deviant pass for a 9-yard gain. Meanwhile, you saw Ross, how angry he was before. How about Natron Means while we were away for a commercial? Here was his act.
And this, keep in mind, this is a 22-year-old youngster who obviously has got a lot of spirit, a lot of pride, and he is chewing on some pretty big people. Those are the rest of his offensive teammates, and frustration is certainly going to boil over with the Chargers. They are not in a spot that anybody would want to be in right now.
2nd and 1 and 43. Floyd, close to a first. You know, the Chargers came in a situation, a lot of teams who get to big games, whether it's the Stanley Cup Finals, the World Series, or the Super Bowl, and are not expected to be there. Everybody says, well, isn't it good enough? I mean, isn't it good enough to be? And you try to convince yourself, no, it's not. But then in retrospect, you begin to think in the offseason, you know what? We were just happy to be there.
Yep. Well, it's how you start the season. The San Francisco 49ers started the season, and in their mind, the end of their successful season was winning this game. I don't think the San Diego Chargers looked that far ahead. Nor should they have, because it's just, that would have been really naive and I think a little over-realistic on their part.
And you talk about how they start the season. They started with 6 straight wins, and they actually went 5-5 for the remainder of the season.
And meanwhile, the NFC now is working on 11 consecutive Super Bowl victories, the majority of them very convincing.
And looking at a season in 1995, the regular season this fall, where you still have San Francisco and Dallas as the dominant teams in the league. Young wrapped up at the 40-yard line. Junior Seau.
Which, you know, Al, you mentioned Dallas and San Francisco. You know, there are people out there who say it's time to abandon the conference matchup in the Super Bowl and go to some sort of a seeding system where you seed the teams. If 12 are in the playoffs, you seed them 1 through 12. And obviously this year, I think it would have been a no-brainer that Dallas and San Francisco would have been the number 1 and number 2 seeds in opposite brackets.
Third down and 14.
Don't look for it coming to the NFL anytime soon.
Young throwing, and everybody looking for a flag. And when Jerry Rice turns around like that, it's a guaranteed flag.
That's Darian
Gordon. He's grabbing the receiver, Jerry Rice. Rice trying to run a fly, and Steve Young trying to get in between the zone. And Darian Gordon suspected he might, and he grabbed him.
Defense, first down.
Here he is on the outside. Actually, he's locked up man for man. You can't touch him after 5 yards.
Can't do it. Just can't do it, no matter how much you want to. No matter how much you need to. You just can't.
22-yard penalty. 5:41 left in the third. San Francisco leading 35-10. First down 49ers at the 38-yard line. Singleton in motion. Waters swinging to the outside, and Ricky picks up a first down. Derek Deese with the block. Darren Carrington with the tackle. You know, Derek Deese has been so much for these 49ers. They struggled in the early part of the season. And one of the main reasons they had so many of their offensive linemen who were hurt. And Cam went down. Derek Deese came off the bench and has filled in ever since the second game.
Good lead block on this play by Derek Deese, the right guard. And one of the things the 49ers as an offensive line do so well is that they get their linemen out in front of plays that are around the corner, outside the perimeter of where you would think offensive linemen in today's game can get to. That's how well these guys run.
Here's Waters, and he's taken down by Sean Lee. Well, they don't have anyone that starts in that offensive line over 280 pounds. Harris Barton may be right around there, but they are quick, and they get in, and they tie up the legs and make things happen.
They had a good look there at Ralph Tam, who actually was the starter at right guard this year and nursed a foot injury that caused him to miss most of the season. A question will be Art Oates and his future with the 49ers, and if he comes back to this team next year, and what kind of shuffling happens around the inside of that line. Samola moved from center to guard and made the Pro Bowl in another position.
Second and 10, Young on the run. Slips it about at the 12-yard line, a first down. And if Art Oates is on his way to another down.
And he's on his way to getting his third Super Bowl ring.
Well, like any
Picked up a pair with the New York Giants.
Like a lot of teams, they'll have to do some retooling, but they're in pretty good shape. A lot of guys with long-term contracts, and they're all set. Oates, of course, one of those fellas who's at an age where, you know, you begin to wonder, do we look for a replacement for him?
Well, and also Bart is one of those guys that you don't know if he's going to continue to play because he has a lot of options. He's a lawyer and
Practices law, lives in New Jersey, he's got a lovely family, and you don't know what he's going to do. Here's Waters. And he's taken out of bounds.
takes a shot at Darian Gordon.
They are helping to escort him. He's trying to become the first man, could become the first man in history to score 4 touchdowns in a Super Bowl game. Roger Craig scored 3 against Miami in Super Bowl 19, and then Jerry Rice in Super Bowl 24 with 3, and Waters tonight.
On that graphic, I think we should use Roman numerals instead of the 3s over there. We got all the Roman numerals on the left. I think we need some Roman numerals over there on the right.
Oh, man.
This is the Super Bowl. Only Roman numerals are acceptable here.
Dexter Carter comes in. He too works well out of the backfield as a receiver, coming in for Ricky Waters. Doug on 2nd and 13. John Taylor gets hit by Gordon as the pass comes into his territory. Ray Lee Johnson, who had the sack earlier, decking Young. And one of the few times tonight that this man, Steve Young, has been pressured.
We've seen, I think it's about the only time tonight that we have seen both the quarterback and the receiver dropped on the same play.
And the 49ers are going to take a timeout with a 3rd and 13 upcoming. 3:25 left in the third. The 49ers 35 and the Chargers 10. And nighttime on the 11th of February.
4:30 and 8 o'clock.
Yes, sir. 10 49ers will be in the Pro Bowl next Sunday. 3rd and 13 at the 15 after the timeout. Young throws. Jerry Rice. Touchdown.
zone. He looks like he took a shot on the left side again when he went down.
From Sean Van Horst.
Yeah.
Jerry Rice just taking it downfield, planting and driving off the left foot. Steve Young drilling it in.
I think Steve Young walking around is a human exclamation point with that score that puts the 49ers into the 40s.
On their way to 49, he's a 42 in a second.
6 Super Bowl touchdown receptions for Rice. Is that correct, John?
Jerry Rice, most ever. Yeah. Alex Ryan for the point after.
And 5 Lombardi trophies will belong to the 49ers, more than anybody else.
Steve Young is now 22 of 30 for 316 yards and 5 touchdown passes. Rice, 9 receptions.
And if you're wondering, 0 interceptions.
Steve Young on his way to a rating of about 300.
This move right behind a little move behind another receiver, and again, Richard playing deep in the end zone. That's not a good way to get into the coverage.
You know, Jerry started to glide a little bit there when he went into the end zone. He actually started to slow down and took kind of an awkward shot. Right here, I think Jerry's just not going all out and lands a little bit awkwardly.
The 49ers, it's a familiar scene, a lot of celebrating going on the bench well before games have been over, all during the regular season. And of course, you know, the stories you've read and heard so much through the years in the shadow of Joe Montana. Steve Young finally emerging now and on his way, tying a Super Bowl record set by Joe in Super Bowl 24. That was the game in New Orleans where they destroyed the Denver Broncos 55-10.
He eclipsed a couple of other Montana season records for the 49ers. He had 70.3 completions on the year. He had a rating of about 112.8.
I'm glad Jerry Rice has scored in this ball game because he is in many ways the heart and soul of this football team. In the way he works, the way he approaches practice, he, I think, as much as anybody, more than anybody, personifies the San Francisco 49ers.
Here's Andre Coleman taking off. He gets on the kicker Bryan. He's being chased by Troy Cook. And Andre Coleman, traced down by Drakeford, scores a touchdown. 98 yards for Coleman.
Well, we knew they had special team explosiveness demonstrated there by Coleman, who didn't even have to break a tackle, did he? I'm not sure a 49er ever touched him.
Andre Coleman, not Darian Gordon, who has returned kicks for touchdowns this year for the San Diego Chargers.
Remember the last time these two teams played, Doug Bryan made a sliding whiplash kick tackle. He's confronted right here.
But forget it.
Went the conventional way and didn't get it done.
Coleman returned 2 kickoffs for touchdowns this season. That ties a Super Bowl record. Fulton Walker of Miami against Washington in 1983, 98 yards for a touchdown. And the Chargers, who are now down 42-16, will line up for 2. So another Super Bowl first time a 2-point conversion has ever been attempted. And Humphreys throws, and let it be duly noted that Mark Shea caught a Humphreys pass for a deuce.
Goes in the record book.
Yep. So they get 42-18.
And really, when you stop and think about it, a very quick pattern over the middle right here. Stan just makes the read and throw. Again, another fine throw by Stan Humphreys. But you know, what's really symbolic here is, and very critical to the outcome of this, they're down to 24 points, which, as you know, is 3 touchdowns and 3 2-point conversions. Chargers only 3 scores behind right now.
We have, speaking of Fulton Walker and the mark that was tied by Coleman, you can compare the 2 runs, the run here by Coleman and this one taking place in the Miami-Washington Super Bowl in 1983, Super Bowl 17. The Dolphin getting loose down the left sideline. A game played at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. He is now joined by Andre Coleman in the record book. What an exciting play that is with the new rule this year. And we saw so many more of them return for touchdowns with big yardage. Well, the new rules have generally been extremely well received, scoring a little bit up. That's what the league wanted. And again, they didn't want to revamp the game. You wanted to tweak it, and that's exactly what they did.
Any gross exaggerations. They got what they looked for, and again, particularly on the kick return.
Well, the kickoff return, in my mind, has always been one of the more exciting plays of the game. And anything you can do to incorporate more of them into a ball game, why not?
Well, John Carney to kick off. 49ers have 5 men up to 10 yards from the line of scrimmage. He sends it down to the 19-yard line, and it is taken there by Dexter Carter, who goes down at the 27. Well, Steve Young already 5 touchdown passes, and here he comes with almost 18 minutes remaining in the game. And here it is, one of the marks he'll attempt to eclipse. Joe Montana in the game in George Seifert's rookie year as a head coach in the Superdome against Denver. Biggest crowd in Super Bowl history. There was one of the touchdown tosses to John Taylor as the 49ers won their 4th Super Bowl.
Jones and Taylor still right here.
Didn't they ring the bell 55 times?
They did, to 10. Young throws underneath, and John Taylor can't hold on. Briggs was covering, and Steve Young, who was shaken up on the last series, is bringing his right elbow.
Hey, and wrist, grabbing the right forearm. Of course, you know, he's left-handed. That's his non-throwing arm, but still, he's got a little blood there, a little scrape on the right on the wrist. Let's see if we can see anything here.
I think it happened before. No,
Oh, there it is,
right there.
A helmet right on the outside of his hand, right at the wrist area.
2nd and 10 at the 28-yard line. And Steve is taken down, and again it is Ray Lee Johnson.
Ray Lee, number 2.
They had the entire regular season.
Just a second-year guy gets his 2nd sack. Of course, that's a sack that comes about because Steve doesn't find anything downfield, tries to move. Looks like he's about to take off again. He's flushed from the pocket in one direction, and good work by the front 4 of the Chargers.
3rd down and 13 at the 25-yard line. 49ers on top, 42 to 18. Young throws, Waters makes the catch, and he is tackled coming up to make the stop. The rookie Willie Clark. Well, at least the Chargers have a mini pulse right now. And the crowd is getting into it. Super Bowl crowds are kind of different. You don't have a hometown crowd to come up with a big noise for you. People travel from all over, many of course from California with the 2 California teams, but it is a different crowd. It's not the same volume. Fine open field tackle by the rookie from Notre Dame, a 3rd-round pick this year. Klaus Wilmsmeyer, his 2nd punt of the game.
And Darian Gordon is one of the more accomplished punt return men in the NFL.
He's run 2 backcourt touchdowns this season.
He can make something happen.
190 and 175 yards. Fair catch is called for and made at the 28-yard line. So Wilmsmeyer does his job, a 44-yard boot and no return with 1:22 left in the 3rd. And a shot of downtown Miami. It's about 15 miles from here. Half hour without any traffic. An hour and a half tonight.
What a city, too. Came back from the hurricane disaster a few years ago, and all South Florida areas. The South Beach has turned into a real mecca for people, a tourist attraction, and the whole Miami Beach area beginning to get rejuvenated.
Well, here are the Chargers at the 28-yard line, 1st and 10. And it's incomplete as he throws into double coverage. Hanks was there along with McDonald on a pass intended for Sean Jefferson. 2nd down.
Now, once again, I'm sure with the temptation on the part of Stan Humphries to try to go deep to Tony Martin, who was locked up one-on-one on Deion Sanders, and
Again, what Sanders will do for you, you can leave him on man-for-man coverage, and he's going to lock up again on Martin, and you get to roll the other way and double cover both the tight end and the wide receiver. He lets you do a lot of things, Deion Sanders. 49ers with a 4-1-6 defense, 6 defensive backs here, and the catch was made by Sean Jefferson up at the 34-yard line, tackled by Eric Davis. Once again, Sanders one-on-one on Tony Martin, but Humphries doesn't go there. He knew that was single coverage. He came to the opposite side of the field, and there was double coverage on Jefferson. 3rd and 4. And the catch is made by Alfred Caputo, but he is stopped at the 37-yard line by Tyrone Drakeford. And is a little short of the first down.
Boy, that was a good hit by Drakeford on a much bigger man. Caputo, 265 pounds. Drakeford, built 185. That was a good, hard hit.
And the Chargers will go for it here. 4th and 1. They have to, but only 25 seconds left in the third. 42-18. They're trying to stay in the game, but they have to convert right here. Natron Means is the tailback. They give it to him. Nothing there, so he has to come back in. Humphries blocks McDonald, but then Hanks comes up from the secondary, and Means is taken down.
And you credit all of that to Tyrone Drakeford and the hit he put on Alfred Caputo, bringing up this 4th down. Now that was a play where everybody in the 49er defense was involved, but it never comes about if it's not for Drakeford's hit on Caputo.
And Merton Hanks, as Means tried to swing it out to the left there, but a good blow delivered there by Lee Woodall, one of the rookie starters that we talked about. Now watch Hanks playing it so well.
Lee Woodall, you named him, Frank. Excellent shedding of the block at the point of attack.
He broke the play up, did Woodall, because that's where Means wanted to go, and after that it was all improvisation. 8 seconds to go in the quarter, and it is knocked down by Leslie O'Neal, intended for Ted Thompson.
That would have been fun if Leslie would have caught that. That would have been a one-on-one with Leslie and Steve Young. That's a play where O'Neal's not blocked. He's left alone on the backside. It's up to the quarterback to get it past him. Leslie O'Neal, one of the fine defensive ends in the game, had none of it.
Steve Young comes into the huddle now and he looks around. I think probably with Mike Shanahan, he talked to him. He says, "Who haven't we got into this game tonight? Let's get him into it." 2nd and 10 at the 32-yard line. Ricky Waters way outside when it's out of bounds, a little short of the first down as time expires in the third quarter. End of 3. San Francisco 42, San Diego 18. Back with the 4th quarter of the Super Bowl. After this word from our ABC station.